What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Bluff City. This is episode number 15, and in today's episode, we're going to be working on this area across the street from the hospital that I worked on last episode. The name of this street is Union Avenue. It's going to be a commercial street lined with different fast food restaurants and commercial businesses, and also the area on the left side of the street is just kind of filled with different offices and a lot of parking lots. I know y'all probably get tired of me placing parking lots. In reality, it's just so many parking lots, way too many parking lots for the number of people and the number of cars. This episode is going to be a real quick, real short episode. I lost a lot of footage that I thought I was recording, but I didn't when I was actually going through and picking the buildings. But it makes it a lot easier to edit the video if I don't have a whole lot of it anyway. Also in this episode, you're going to see me place the Strictoaster Cafe, which is an asset that I've been planning on working on for a long while. And if you don't know who Strictoaster is, you probably aren't watching this video, which of course, if you're not watching this video, then you're probably not hearing me talk about it right now. But I've always had the idea of doing kind of like a diner that is shaped like a toaster, or at least has the kind of outward appearance like a toaster. And I've just never really gotten around to it until recently. Over the past week, I've been busy with so many different assets that I actually haven't even had time to release all of them. I still haven't uploaded the O'Reilly Auto Parts that I completed in the last episode. When I upload assets, I just kind of have to, I try to, for the most part, space them out so that I'm not really competing with myself to have one of my assets at the top of the workshop. Right now, I think the last asset that I uploaded was the Courtyard Marriott Hotel. And I've got a couple more hotels that I'm probably about 95% finished with. I just haven't finished putting the finishing touches on them, which sometimes the last few things just get really repetitive and boring, and it's a lot of re-uploading and importing into the asset editor, which just takes a long time and just kind of gets boring and frustrating after a while. So that's something I try to avoid doing. So y'all definitely want to stay tuned for that and subscribe to me on the Steam Workshop so y'all will know what assets are coming. And I've already finished recording footage for the next episode of Paradise Valley, which is a series that I'm doing that's focused on building the Las Vegas Strip. So if you hadn't checked out that playlist, go ahead and check it out after you finish watching this video. But I've finished recording the next episode for that. And if you follow me on Twitter at King Leno, then you already know what series of casinos that I'm planning on building next for that upcoming episode. And I was able to finish that episode of Paradise Valley in between recording this episode of Bluff City, because for some reason, whenever I loaded Bluff City, my search box mod, or my search box in the Find It mod, would disappear, which made it really difficult to find the buildings that I needed, especially just kind of browsing through if I don't really have an idea or don't know the name of the building. And that just made it really, really difficult to get through some parts of this episode without having that functionality of the mod. Right now on the time lapse, or real briefly, you just saw me trying out the Springhill Suites hotel, which I just made. I based that on the same texture map that I used for the Courtyard Marriott Hotel, so I could get that done real quickly. I still have to work on the LOD for that, but I want to to go ahead and get that done before I started working on something else, while the texture maps for the courtyard were still fresh in my mind. And you just saw me plop down the Strictoaster Cafe. I'll be coming back and detailing that a little while later, so you'll get a closer look at that. Strictoaster Cafe, I kind of imagine being like a 24-hour diner that's across the street from the hospital, that the hospital employees can use this pedestrian bridge to cross over and go to the diner after their shift is over. And I know that there are probably better pedestrian bridges on the workshop, but I'm really not motivated to find any. My approach to detailing this area was to take one set of props, like curb props, to cover the area, and then go back with another set, like fences or parking lots, so that I can get a whole lot of this area covered and in as little time as possible. So first I'm using curb props. I think prior to that I started placing parking lots off camera. And so I basically just placed a bunch of parking lots, which at this point I'm not even finished placing all of the parking lots. So started placing the parking lots, and then I started using curb props to just outline the area. I'm using some of my sidewalk props to place some minimal detailing around some of the parking lots. You see right there, I'm trying a variety of different parking lots. I even did some ploppable asphalt parking lots, which I think that was my first time doing. And so after I place some of the curb props and parking lots, then I go back and do some of the place some decals, and then I place some trees just to kind of fill in the area. And I really didn't spend a whole lot of time detailing. Well, I actually did spend a lot of time detailing. It took me a couple of hours just to do this portion that you're watching on the time lapse right now. But overall, it's not heavily detailed. But yeah, it just takes me so much longer to complete the area because from the time that I started laying the roads in the first couple of seconds of this time lapse up until the end of the time lapse, I completed the Marriott hotel. I put the final and finishing touches on the Oasis Hotel, Casino and Resort. I started working on the Springhill Hotel. I think I've got another hotel in the works. I started working on the Strictoaster Cafe, which by the time you're watching this video, I probably won't be 100% finished with it. Right now, I'm probably about 85% finished with it. Because it's such a small asset, won't take a whole lot of time. And I'm pretty sure there are some more things that I've been working on. Oh, I've been working on casinos for the next episode of Paradise Valley. Although what you're seeing on screen probably took me a couple of hours, but the time that I spent in between on different aspects of playing this game probably is about 10 times as long as what you're seeing on screen. And oh yeah, I forgot that I was talking about my Find It search box mod. So it was not loading when I was playing Bluff City, but it was loading when I was playing Paradise Valley, which I use 2 different accounts to play so I can keep my mods and my assets separately. And so I pretty much had to go through all of my mods, and I was reading some of the comments on the Find It, and a lot of people were having this issue, and it's really no rhyme or reason to it. But what I did find is that when I started deleting assets, and I took a lot of my custom assets that I use for Paradise Valley out of my assets folder and temporarily moved them when I loaded Bluff City, and for some reason removing assets, it seems to bring the search box back. So I'm not really sure what's the permanent solution for that. Also, in the process of removing assets and unsubscribing to things, I accidentally unsubscribed to a few assets and buildings that I had used previously. So I have to go back and replace those, which I don't really want to do, but it is what it is. I guess it's just part of playing the game. So I'm kind of rambling right now, which I'm trying to take a cue from Prez and not spend as much time editing my audio, because it just takes a hell of a lot of time to record audio and then to edit it. It actually takes so much longer to edit the audio than it does to record it. So I'm gonna try to record as much commentary as possible with as little editing cuts as possible, which is really difficult for me to do because I'm not a natural speaker and I really hate public speaking. So let me try to talk about what's going on the screen. As you see here, I'm just dragging some of these curves to outline some of the areas. What I tried to do in this area, I used some of these houses to represent different offices. Of course, they could represent houses, but in this area, there are a lot of converted houses that are now offices, like dental offices or just kind of general businesses like that. And so I picked a couple of residential houses that would kind of fit some of that theme. I'm also using a lot of surface brushes just to get straight lines, because if I use surface painter with the road that I'm using and the pedestrian paths that I'm using, it's just going to erase those lines and it's going to make it really difficult. So I use a ton of these brushes. And I know a lot of people kind of caution against using too many of these brushes because they count toward the building count, but there's just no way that I'm going to hit the building count, or that's something that I'm even worried about, because at least half of the city so far is empty lots and parking lots. I got really lazy and just started copying and pasting some of these fake parking lots. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with the progress in the area, and I could tell y'all that I'm gonna go back and add more detail to it, but I'm probably not. Just gotta keep it moving, always moving on to something bigger and better. And I did get a little bored with this area after a while, but overall I had a lot of fun doing it. But yeah, it's only so much time, energy, and effort you can put into making parking lots all of the time. And so I'm just finishing this area off by adding some fences and some trees. One of the reasons why I try not to add a whole lot of minor details is because most of the time they're just gonna get covered up in trees anyway, so it's really no point. And I really like the fact that a lot of the residential area is just covered with trees, because I can get away with not putting a whole lot of detail and just cover everything with trees. I'm also adding some hedges and just kind of rounding off some of the final touches of these parking lots. Again, not spending a whole lot of time or effort. So in the last few moments of this episode, I'm working on Strictoaster Cafe. What you see right here is about 85% finished. So yeah, definitely a big shout out to Strictoaster, who's really helpful and down to earth, which is kind of unusual saying, because everybody that I've interacted with on a one-on-one basis within the City Skylines community has just been so nice and so helpful, which is really kind of unusual with any internet community. And I'm sure there are a couple of assholes in the City Skylines community. So big thanks to Strictoaster, and thanks for all the support. And that's going to wrap things up for this episode. I hope you did enjoy it like I enjoyed recording it. So y'all go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I will see all of y'all in the next episode.